What's up, everybody? We are back with another one-on-one interview today. Quick shout out to our guys over at Ambush Sports Network. Give them a follow for all things sports at Ambush Sports on Twitter. Fresh off a huge KO win in the UFC over a UFC vet, we'd like to welcome Josh Emmett. Josh, how's it going?
Going great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, I appreciate it. Congrats on a big performance. Deserving a bonus, if you ask me, for sure. You talked post fight about getting off to a slow start, and I was just wondering, do you often find in fights that you're returning from an injury that you have a tentativeness to start, and what do you do to try and get over those and get right back into things?
Yeah, no, I felt like I had a long layoff, but as far as ring rust goes, there was no ring rust, and I wasn't tentative at all. Like, I feel like I heard people saying that I would be, and even I watched the fight afterwards, and I heard some like Dominic Cruz saying, "Oh, he's going to be tentative." I don't know how he knows that or thinks that. There was no, I had facial fractures and stuff like that, but that's not the first time I've broken anything. I've had multiple injuries, overcome so much. So for me, I get on with things. I move on. I'm mentally strong. I wasn't thinking about that at all. I was sparring professional boxers that hit way harder than Michael Johnson did, and I was sparring Chad Mendez, and I got hit in those areas. And this is like months ago. And so I knew they were fine, like I got hit in the exact same spot, and there was no issue. So I knew I'd be fine. I wasn't tentative at all. I wasn't worried about re-injuring it. I was just, sticking to the game plan that my coaches and I came up with. And it was a little different for me because I like to just get right in there and get into a fight, like just a dog fight. Get in there and brawl, stay in the pocket. But they wanted me to use a lot of movement, level changes, even just shots. Sometimes I wasn't fully committing to a full takedown. I was just kind of shooting in there, and then he'd stuff it. I'll try to, punch off the brakes, and just I wanted him to keep thinking about the takedown, and I kept level changing and just staying, going to my left, which is away from his power side, and like you said, he's a veteran, Michael Johnson, so I couldn't go in there reckless. I just had to be smart about it, and just knew my shot would come. He did really well in the first and second round, just kind of staying away, staying on the outside, but then in the third round, he kind of let that out the window, and he was comfortable, and he was standing close to me. So then I knew it would come. Even watching the fight, I still think I won the first round. I gave him the second round, and I was definitely winning the third round until the knockout came.
Yeah, that's exactly what I saw in that fight. I saw you just continuing to get more and more comfortable in the ring. For both of you guys, it seemed that you were both getting more and more comfortable with each other, and exactly like you were talking about, feinting those shots in, feinting takedowns, and eventually waiting for what you say you always do look for is that big one punch shot, because we all know that you have that power. As we mentioned, a big win over a highly skilled veteran, Michael Johnson. It's now got you ranked at number 8. How soon do you want to get back into the octagon? And is there anybody that you have in mind? I mean, I see the three guys ahead of you, and Zabit Moicano and Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy Stevens, all is intriguing fights. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I want to, I want to stay active. I feel like I have a lot of missed time. You know what I mean? I sat out for 13 months. I had so much momentum going before the Stevens fight, and then I just with all the injuries I sustained, and I feel like I have to make up for that. So I got in and out of that fight, injury free. I don't even feel like I fought. I did a lot of things. So I stayed in Philly for a few days with my mom and aunt and wife. Checked it out. Came back. I went to Vegas to watch a buddy fight, and then right back in the gym. And I was back in the gym, and then I even sparred today because I'm helping out Clay. Guida has a big fight in Rio, May 11th. So I'm emulating BJ and, being his main training partner for this. So I want to get back in there. July, I wanted to do International Fight Week, but I guess the card's already full as far as featherweights go. So hopefully I'll get something the end of July. But, I want to just keep moving up. I want to fight people in front of me. I really don't want to fight people behind me unless it's like a bigger name. So I just have to wait and see what Sean and the UFC wants me to do, and I'll take it from there. But I'm I'm back in the gym training.
Right on. Yeah, for me, the only thing that I saw was those names ahead of you, and if you do look behind you at all, I think maybe the only intriguing name there would be maybe Yair Rodriguez. I know he's somebody who doesn't fight that often, it seems, but I think that would be somebody that could also be an interesting matchup. So, a common trend with all athletes these days, not just MMA fighters, seems to be working with the mentalist coach and practicing visualization. And I know you had said that you had gone over that exact finish many times, an overhand right. For you, what is the change physically that you feel when you're so strong and prepared mentally coming into a fight?
Yeah, it's even with that, I know I saw that got a lot of clout with like the mind coach, but I've been working with him for 3 years since I've been in the UFC, so it's nothing different. Um, but yeah, I do so many different things, like as far as just getting prepared for a fight, like I and one of the things is I've been injured my whole UFC career except my first fight. That's the only time I've been 100%, and I've said that before, and I had a lot of just injuries. So I was training at like 50-60%. I would literally just like run on a treadmill to get in shape, lose some weight. I would hit mitts and maybe spar. But a lot of with the injuries I had throughout my whole career in the UFC, I haven't been wrestling. I haven't been doing jiu-jitsu. I wasn't doing the things that got me into the UFC, and I was still winning fights. So this was the first fight that I was back to everything, and I felt great, and everything was just like firing, and I just felt like it was when I was in Philadelphia, it felt like I was in Rotterdam for my first fight. Didn't feel like I was fighting. It just felt kind of weird with me having that 13-month layoff, and then like I'm like, man, I felt great too. So I'm like, oh, I'm fighting in 2 days, and it doesn't sink in until I'm literally like in the octagon, and the ref's like, are you ready? You ready? And we shake our head, and then we're fighting. It's just insane, and that's how it feels. I'm never nervous to fight, and I'm never excited. It's kind of funny. People are like, oh, are you excited for your fight? And sometimes I just say, oh yeah, but I'm not excited to go get punched in the face, and I'm not ever nervous. It's just like I feel like I've been doing it so long and been an athlete my whole life. So it's just like another day at work. But one of the things that I credit my return to is on the layoff that I had, my doctor and nutritionist and we've been working on formulating and developing a powerful supplement, and we did that, and I feel like that's the main thing that got me back to training, and one of the main reasons why I was able to fight 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you've jumped ahead of me and stolen one of my questions there, but I was gonna say you've mentioned since returning that while you were off, you and your team you were working on that supplement Mastermind, and I was just curious in how it helped your return, and can you fill us in a little bit on what exactly it is and where the people can get it?
Yeah, so the thing with that is, and like the story behind all this is, I've always wanted to do some form of supplement line, but I was thinking about, regular stuff, proteins, creatines, amino acids, multivitamins, things like that. But getting into like the supplement industry and stuff, it's so saturated, and there's already great brands and stuff out there. So it's hard for me to come out there and compete with these. So I've been taking a lot of different supplements always throughout my fight camp. My nutritionist has me take things. And then when I suffered all these injuries and, especially like more so the brain injury, the post-concussive stuff, and I had bad vertigo and headaches, and I felt like I was living in a fog, and I just couldn't remember anything. And I just was off. And so that kind of change things for us. We're like, there's not a lot of things out there to take, and he still had me taking certain like supplements and things like that, but he's like, let's change our focus and go this direction. Let's create something for you, and we'll create something that will help, just it's for everyone, like in contact sports. It's all demographic too. It's not even just athletes. It's for, I say like weekend warriors, business professionals, just anyone really anybody, because there's 4 compartments to it. There's a brain booster part, and this restores focus, restores memory. it actually, for the contact sports, I feel like this is a huge thing. It protects the integrity of the cells in the brain, which is great for us. And then there's a anti-inflammatory portion. So this is not only for the brain, but the entire body and joints. And then we have an energy enhancer that has no stimulants. It sustained energy throughout the entire day. No highs, no lows, no crashes, things like that. And then there's a recovery portion, which aids in, recovery, because we have so many environmental and physical and emotional stressors. And this is just everybody in life. And it's just, man, it really is a one-of-a-kind, powerful supplement. And it's called Mastermind. And you can find it on my website at joshemmett.com.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's a good look to hear into the way that fighters and athletes in general are able to keep themselves busy in their time off, and in times in which exactly maybe they're going through some things that they haven't experienced in their life, and it's great to hear that you were able to be productive with that, and I look forward to seeing if you guys have further supplements come out along that line. So you're obviously you're a key member over at Team Alpha Male from the very get-go, and as we're talking about mental strength, how have you been able to maintain focus and keep a distance from the highly public disputes and differences over the past few years that have happened over at Team Alpha Male?
Yeah, for me, it's man, I'm not one to like get into like the drama or just even, I don't know, just things. I feel like Team Alpha Male, it's like people either, for one, there's two things. They either love or hate our team for some reason. And then there's so many different things. Like when people are going in cross training, I think it's good to go cross train in MMA. Like you learn from everybody, but for some reason we get a lot of, I don't know, I guess bad publicity or media or whatever it may be. If someone leaves the team to go cross train because, they believe, like TJ left because Dwayne helped him get there, and he believed in his coach and he went with him. We have other people that moved out or moved away because they wanted to be closer to their family or their wife or whatever, lived in a different state. They want to do that. That's fine. But how many new people do we have on our team that came from another gym and they didn't get any of that? So it's kind of funny to me, and then you just hear all this stuff and it's like, people ask me like, hey, what's going on with that? I'm like, I don't know. I know probably just as much as the person asking me about it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what do you think about it? Like I turn it on them, but I don't get happy or like I can't celebrate on someone's misfortune or downfall. That's just not me. I feel like a lot of people, and you see this with some of the fans and stuff like that, are just the trolls on social media. It's like people that are happy to see someone fail or go take the time to go and talk negative about it. Like those people have some serious things going on with them. And a lot of times I feel like they're just like low lives and just trash. So it's like, that's my thing. I won't ever get caught up in the drama or talk bad about someone failing or something. I actually feel kind of bad for certain people because I don't wish that upon anyone. When you're at the highest level or something happens and then it ruins your reputation, it ruins your opportunities financially for not only yourself but your family. It's just, man, I can't celebrate that. It's kind of sad. That's kind of me about with all like the drama and stuff like that. You won't ever catch me talking bad about a former teammate or even just an opponent. For one, I don't know the people personally, so if they're talking trash and all that, that's fine with me. I'm not going to say anything bad about them because I don't personally know them. But the thing is, I am going to see is we'll find out. They can talk and say whatever they want about how they're going to beat me or do this and that, but it's like we'll find out when we fight. That's my big thing. So I'm like, well, we'll find out Saturday.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, while you're speaking of people trying to knock people down, kind of when they're at their highest, and it's almost that people are breeding off of negativity these days. Joe Rogan just had Kevin Hart on his podcast the other day, and they had a great 15-20 minute talk about exactly that, about how people these days seem to celebrate negatives. It's almost that the negatives are what gets exactly the clout, and what gets the most attention is people trying to celebrate negatives as opposed to celebrating positives. But I think we
Yeah, no,
would
I
be.
totally,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, I totally agree. I totally agree, and it's also like I feel like with social media nowadays, it's like it just gives people a voice. You know what I mean? Where they can go and they want this reaction out of you. But some things are irritating because I'll find myself I don't like after fights. You know, the phone's going crazy, so it's like I don't see everything because it's like every 100 whatever likes or comments it goes to the next thing. So you can't scroll through your feed enough. But if you go on there and you see something to click and it's some like crazy thing. Some things I think funny, but some things are irritating, you know, and it's like I want to like comment back and like go off, and then it's like you cannot win. It's like they come out of everywhere, and it's like, and that's what they want, you know. So it's like I have to just remember like, oh, I gotta let it go, and but I'll see like my friends and stuff and other people going to war on social media with this stuff. I'm like, man, just leave it alone. It is kind of crazy, but a lot of those people that do it, their stuff is private, and I can guarantee they wouldn't say that to anyone's face either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It seems to be that those keyboard warriors, as people reference them to, it's that I just want to know where they find the time to be able to come up with all of these personal attacks that they suddenly come out of the woodworks when people are at their highest points. So I think though, well, speaking of Team Alpha Male, we would be remiss just to not touch on it a little bit, just of the recent news of TJ Dillashaw. It's obviously one of the biggest names in the sport having something like this come out, and it was just a little bit curious as to what your immediate thoughts were.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. Like I don't know the full story. He hasn't been with the team for almost 3 years, I want to say. So it's like I know just as much as you do about it, and just kind of what we say. Like I felt I feel for the guy. Like TJ's he was a good guy. He was always nice to me. I don't wish anyone bad, especially stuff like what's going on. So it's like, man, I don't know. It's definitely it sucks, for him. But yeah, I don't know exactly the full story of what was going on besides just what you've read, and a lot of things I don't believe everything I read on the internet. But yeah, of course he's suspended and all this type of stuff. But I wish him the best still.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think it would be refreshing for more people, more fighters, more media personality to exactly to have that opinion on it, where it's, hey, it's not my business. I wish them nothing but the best. I hope that they can get through whatever they're going through, and that they come out a better person, and hopefully they've learned something from it. So I think that's a great outlook to have on it. And Josh, starting your career at featherweight, before you had a 3 year stint at lightweight, where obviously became the WCF champion. What led to your return at featherweight, and is this where you're going to be staying for the rest of your career?
Yeah, that was man, my let's see. I had a few amateur fights. They were at 55 because the same day weigh-in. My first pro fight was at 45. I was always going to be a 45er, and then I was constantly going to fight at 45, but always like last minute, the promoter would call and be like, "Hey, your opponent can't make weight. Well, you do a catch weight at 150." And I'm like, "Of course, you know." So I think after my first pro fight, I want to say my second and third fight were catch weights at 150, but they were supposed to be at 145, but the opponent couldn't make it. And then my fourth pro fight was at 45. And then after that, I was just like, it's a hard cut. It's a super hard cut to get to 45. Making 155s is hard, but 45 is on another level. So then I just decided to, go up since I was fighting on the regional scene. So I fought as high as welterweight too. I fought at 55. I fought a welterweight fight, a few of them, and then I was doing well at 55, and I was a champion there. And then there was a few times I almost got on the Ultimate Fighter show too. So if I was going to get on that show, it was going to be at lightweight, because there's no way I can make 45 consistently as much as those guys fight and do okay. So Uriah was always telling me, if you get on the Ultimate Fighter, it'll be at 55. If you get a short notice call, it'll be at 55, just because, 4-day, 10-day notice, like I can't make that weight in 10 days. So I did that, and then I actually got a short notice call, my debut in the UFC, and that was on 4 days in Rotterdam. So it was in the Netherlands. So I literally hopped on a plane, flew across the world, and had 2 days to cut the weight. I weighed in and then fought on the 4th day. And I had got a win, and also had suffered the worst hand injury in UFC history in my first outing, and had a compound fracture in my hand and bone sticking out of the finger. And I kept thinking my finger flew off, and I had to hide it from the ref and just keep telling him I'm okay, let's go, because if he saw that, or any doctor, they would have stopped the fight and I would have lost. And I was dominating the entire fight, first, second, and third round, until that happened. And I had 2.5 minutes left, so I was just kind of moving a lot. But my goal was always to go 45s in the UFC, but I had success at 55. So I won that. Then I beat another tough guy, Scott Holtzman. I beat him, and I just kept staying there. It's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So the only time I decided, when I lost a split decision to Desmond Green, that I felt I won that fight. I lost split decision. I thought I won 2 rounds for sure, and I gave him 1 round, but I fought him in his hometown, and I feel like I got hometown. So I always try to think of something positive, even when everything's going bad and nothing's going good. So that's the one thing that I kind of reevaluated things, and I was like, man, forget this. And I decided to make the cut to 45 my next outing, and make a run at the featherweight title. And that's exactly what I did. But my goal was always to fight at featherweight, and when I got in the UFC, to fight at featherweight, but I was just doing well.
Awesome. Yeah. No, and as you were saying, to make a run at featherweight, I wouldn't say that that's something that's in the past. I think that's something that you're living in right now. I think you're well on your way here, to exactly doing that, making your way into that title shot contention. I would say you could see yourself 2-3 fights maximum away from being a name that pops up when that title shot is discussed. So good on you for that. And lastly, Josh, looking ahead at life after fighting, you're obviously a well-educated guy with a degree from Menlo College, and you've said in your past that law enforcement was something that you possibly wanted to get into, and I'm sure you have options to coach always, and obviously with your supplement business coming up. Do you have any thoughts or plans at all on what the future holds for Josh Emmett?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Like you said, I have a lot of I have a lot of connections just in general in Sacramento, and I have a lot of people that, even before I got in the UFC, even while I'm in the UFC, people are like, you need to come over here. I can get you a job, this and that. But it's like, my biggest thing that my wife and I talk about is, I don't want to have any regrets. I don't want to pass up this opportunity in the UFC. Not chase my dream and then get a regular job and then look back at it when it's too late, when I can't do it, and be like, man, what if, or I wish I would have done this. So I'm just, I always say I'm right until the wheels fall off. And I haven't thought too much about it, but I'm not worried at all. I could get something going in, law enforcement. I have a lot of people that are really high up at a lot of, great jobs. And then also just meeting all the connections. I'm trying to do something. It would be great to just be an entrepreneur and following Uriah's footsteps. I'm actually part of this health bar that's in Sacramento. We have 3 locations. It's called Vibe Health Bar, and we just opened the 3rd location. So it's, plan on doing a bunch more of these locations. They're doing pretty well, and then you never know. I'm getting into this supplement, and just, I don't know. I love it. Things that I'm passionate about, I just want to be a part of, or it's just the lifestyle too. I just don't want to do an 8 to 5. I feel like I feel like I just get too bored, and I need a little bit of a change up and things like that. That's why I always wanted to do law enforcement. It was always when I was a little kid, I wanted to do law enforcement or be a professional athlete. But at that time, I was thinking about like the NBA and NFL, and I got older and didn't grow, and so that's definitely out of the picture. But even law enforcement, it's always different. You never know what to expect. So.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's awesome. I'm glad that you have many options, many paths that you could go down on in the future for yourself. So thank you, Josh. The three things that we need to check out, everybody: Vibe Health Bar, Mastermind Supplements, and Josh Emmett UFC on all social media platforms. So again, Josh, thank you. Best of luck with everything. Hope to see you soon, maybe late July, early August, where you can get that long overdue fight bonus, because I know that's something that should have been given to you a couple times now.
Well, I appreciate it. You have a good one. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it, Josh.
If anyone else wants to keep up or follow along on like any appearances or new things, they can always subscribe to joshemmett.com, and then we'll send out email blasts there as well.
Awesome. Thank you again. That's Josh Emmett, guys.
Take care.